Welcome to all the students of FY BCom once again. Today we will see the last part of the Unit 4, that is Introduction to GST Law and Accounting. And today we will discuss the procedure for registration under GST and the important terms which are related to GST. So let us start our lecture. First we will see the procedure for registration under GST. In this we will see the registration process which is followed in India for the GST. So the GST registration process will be online through our official portal of GST maintained by the Central Government of India. Okay. Government will also appoint GSPs, that is GST Suvidha providers, to help businesses with the registration process. So the registration process is as follows. The applicant will need to submit his PAN, mobile number and email address in Part A of Form GST Registration 01 on the GSTN portal or through Facilitation Center notified by the board or commissioner. So you should submit your PAN, mobile number and email address in the Part A of Form GST Registration 01. Okay. The next is the PAN is verified on the GST portal. Mobile number and email address are verified with a one-time password, that is OTP. Once the verification is complete, the applicant will receive an application reference number. What he will receive or she will receive application reference number on the registered mobile number or by email. An acknowledgement will be issued to the applicant in Form GST Registration 2 electronically. Okay, so these are the first two procedures. The next comes, applicant needs to fill Part B of Form GST Registration 1 and specify the application reference number which he has been received when he has filled the form of registration GST Registration 01. तो पार्ट ए फॉर्म जो हमने भरा था GST Registration 1 का, उस टाइम हमको क्या मिलता है एप्लीकेशन रेफरेंस नंबर, तो वो मेंशन करना पड़ता है पार्ट बी ऑफ फॉर्म GST Registration 1 में. ठीक है. Then the form can be submitted after the attaching required documents. The following documents will be asked and those documents are to be attached with this form. Okay. Now next comes, if additional information is required, Form GST Registration 3 will be issued. Applicant need to respond in Form GST Registration 04 with required information within 7 working days from the date of receipt of Form GST Registration 3. Okay. Now comes, your application may be rejected by the office if it contains any kind of errors. If you have made any error while filing for the registration, then you will be informed through Form GST Registration 5. Okay. The last one is, after the verification and approval, registration certificate will be issued to you by the department in the Form GST Registration 6, registration or register 06. Okay. So this is the procedure which is followed in India for GST registration. Okay. Now next comes the documents required for GST registration. So the first is certificate of incorporation, authorized signatory photo, stakeholders photo, it can be promoter or a partner, then proof of business address which includes electricity bill or property tax receipt or municipal khata copy or legal ownership document for the proof of business address. Then comes your copy of resolution passed by board of director or managing committee, an acceptance letter or letter of authorization, and proof of bank account details which includes a copy of your bank statement or cancelled check or the first page of your passbook. So these are the documents which are required for the GST registration. Next comes person liable to take a registration under the model GST law. Who are the persons who are liable to take a registration under the model GST law? So as per GST Act, GST registration is mandatory for most persons and businesses or entities supplying goods or services in India. Okay. In case of a person or entity supplying goods or services, GST registration becomes mandatory when the aggregate value of supply is more than rupees 20 lakhs. So when it is mandatory, when the registration becomes mandatory when the aggregate value of supply is more than 20 lakhs. Okay. In case the entity is operating in a special category state, then GST registration mandatory कब होगा? When the aggregate value of supply is more than rupees 10 lakhs per annum. Okay, in that case it will be compulsory for the special category state. However, certain categories of persons mentioned in Schedule 3 of MGL stands for Model GST Law. So, in certain categories of persons mentioned in Schedule 3 of MGL are liable to be registered irrespective of this threshold. So there are some people which are mentioned, there are some persons of the categories mentioned in Schedule 3 of Model GST Law who are liable to GST registration in respective of these thresholds which are mentioned above. Agriculturist shall not be considered as a taxable person and shall not be liable to take registration as per section 9 subsection 1. So agriculturists are not liable to get a registration. Okay. Now next comes the cases in which registration is compulsory. In what cases the registration is compulsory? So as per paragraph 5 schedule 3 of model GST law, the following categories of persons shall be required to be registered compulsorily irrespective of the threshold. थ्रेशोल्ड इन केसेस में नहीं माना जाएगा, जो भी लिमिट दी गई है जैसे मोर देन 20 लाख या मोर देन 10 लाख जो भी लिमिट दी गई है, इन केसेस में वो लिमिट्स को नहीं माना जाएगा. और वो पर्सन कौन कौन से हैं? फर्स्ट इज पर्सन्स मेकिंग एन इंटर स्टेट टैक्सेबल सप्लाई. नेक्स्ट कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन्स. वी विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट slide what does the casual taxable person means. Okay, then persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge. We will also see the meaning of reverse charge in the next slide. Non-resident taxable persons, this also will be taught in the next slide. Persons who are required to deduct tax under section 37. Then persons who supply goods and or services on behalf of other registered taxable persons, whether as an agent or otherwise. Next comes input service distributor. Persons who supply goods and or services other than branded services. Electronic commerce operator. Every electronic commerce operator. An aggregator who supplies services under his brand name or his trade name. And such other person or class of persons as may be notified by the central government or a state government on the recommendations of the councils. So these are the following persons who are compulsory, who has a compulsion to get the registration of GST, and for them the threshold limit is not a barrier. Okay, now next comes some important terms related to GST. In this, first is casual taxable person. Who is a casual taxable person? Casual taxable person has been defined in section 2 subsection 21 of model GST law. In which section it has been defined? In section 2 subsection 21. It means a person who occasionally undertakes transactions in a taxable territory where he has no fixed place of business, who is involved in supply of goods or services, or both, in the course of furtherance of business, where as principal, agent, or any other capacity. So this is the meaning of, casual taxable person, which has been defined in the section 2 subsection 21. So he occasionally undertakes the tax transaction process in a taxable territory where he doesn't have any fixed place of business, but that person is involved in the supply of goods or services, or both, in the course of furtherance of his business. He might be as a principal, he might be the main person who is doing this activity, or he might be an agent or in any other capacity. So this is what the casual taxable person means. Next comes non-resident taxable person. A taxable person residing outside India and coming to India to occasionally undertake the transaction in the country but has no fixed place of business in India is a non-resident taxable person in terms of section 2 subsection 69 of the model GST law. So this is what non-resident taxable person means. Means he's a taxable person but he is residing outside India and he comes to India occasionally and undertake the transaction in the country, but he doesn't have any fixed place of business in India. So he is a non-resident taxable person according to the section 2 subsection 69. Okay. Next comes reverse charge. Usually when the supplier supplies goods, the tax is levied upon the supplier. Okay. In certain cases, the tax is levied upon the buyer of the goods, and this is called reverse charge, as the chargeability of tax gets reversed. When supply supplies the goods, then taxes किस पे लगते हैं? Supplier पे. But कुछ cases में when the taxes are levied by the levied on the buyer, then it is called as reverse charge because chargeability of tax gets reversed. Supplier के जगह किसको लग रही है? Buyer पे. ठीक है? That is why the chargeability of the tax gets reversed. That is why it is called as a reverse charge. This is not new under GST, as under the previous VAT regime, the reverse charge existed, but only on services. Now under GST, it will be applicable on goods as well. So this is what a reverse charge means. Now next comes continuous supply. When goods and services are offered or supplied periodically, that is every fortnight or every month, etc. and payments are also made periodically, it is called a continuous supply. For example, a telecom and internet provider will provide continuous supply as it is provided for a long time, and also the payments are done every month or quarterly. Is it right? Yes, a telecom and internet provider provides continuous supply as it provides long time services to us, and also payments are done every month or quarterly for the services which are provided by them. So it is what? It is a continuous supply. So this is what your reverse charge and continuous supply means here. So this was the last part of your GST. I hope you have understand all the terms related to the GST. Thank you for listening the lecture.